For his perspective on today's political situation amid the protests, we welcome now in the studio political analyst and professor at the San Beda University Graduate School of Law, Professor Ed Tayao. Prof. Ed, thank you for coming.
Thanks
you,
for having
Professor.
me. Thanks.
So, you've seen the rally today. How do you assess the rally today compared to September 21?
Well, September 21, as we've been talking about off-cam, talagang malaki yun, no? Definitely bigger than this one. But I'm inclined more to compare it with the, more recent rally, no? Because it's kind of telling, no? Una, there's no particular personality.
The more recent rally being?
The INC rally.
Okay.
No.
In People Power, the UPI?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right. No? Because it's kind of obvious, no? I mean, you're calling out corruption, but it's as if you have already assumed that there are particular personalities that are free from corruption, which is unusual, that's to say the least. Yeah.
I take it that you're saying that you are also against the call for resignation?
Yeah, I'm very much against the call for resignation. I mean, I don't think the president is perfect. I don't think we've ever had a perfect president. But we should learn from the two EDSAs we've had already. I mean, kung talaga naging effective yung dalawang EDSA na yun, why are we still having this same kind of problems? At the end of the day, it's really the system or lack of system that is the problem here. Until such time that we're able to address it, wala, paulit-ulit lang tayo.
So you're a political analyst. You've seen the recent actions of the president, as Pinky mentioned a while ago, the president's daily report. Do those things give you comfort that we're moving a step towards prosecution and justice?
I'm inclined to think that there are concrete steps already taken, but there's so much still to be had. No? I mean, fine. I mean, expected naman na mas madaling patunayan yung mga directly involved, DPWH. But yung gustong mangyari nung kabila na they've demonized the word insertion. Actually, kung nakakaintindi ka ng legislation, yung insertion kasama sa legislation yan. Hindi mo pwede tanggalin yan. So kapag hindi pala, mali pala yung insertion, edi lahat yan ikulong mo. Now, having said that, kung merong maling insertion, you should be able to tie it up with the consummation of the act. Paano tumawid yung perang in-insert, saan pumunta, paano nagamit, and so on. And last but not the least.
At kinurakot pa.
Exactly. Kailangan matay mo yun. Kailangan makita mo no? And last but not the least, I've been dealing with the government on and off, different agencies and so on. Ngayon lang ako nakakita ng ahensya, DPWH lang yung bukod tangi na magbabayad ng kontraktor cash. Medyo kalokohan yun Kaya mahirap mong patunayan Kasi cash mo babayaran yung kontraktor. Kaya,
ano bang normal, di ba?
Usually check yan or bank to bank yan
Pero din-deposit sa bank ng contractor yan
Hindi, exactly. Pero paano mo i-deposit sa bank ng contractor? Still, no? I mean, may mga instances na dine-deposit sa bangko ng contractor, yung contractor ang nag-withdraw, but there were instances, if we doon sa Senate investigation, it's the DPWH themselves who withdrew it, no? And encashed the check, I suppose, and gave it in cold cash. So bakit allowed sila ng ganon? So kaya wala kang paper trail Kaya madaling magsabi na safe na ako kasi hindi ka naman talaga directly tatanggap niyan Sek Meron kang
That's the point.
bagman.
That's the point. I wanted
Kaya
to
systemic yan.
follow up on that because while we have some DPWH officials already in jail because of the first batch of cases that were filed, it includes, of course, former Congressman Zaldico, who is not here and cannot be found.
Na walang kinita daw.
Wala po siyang kinita sa sinabi po niya sa kanyang video, is how do you actually really connect the legislators who may be guilty because they, if at all they are guilty, should have been smart enough to have a bagman.
Exactly.
But on one exception, if you look at and go back to the testimony of Undersecretary Bernardo, meron ho kasi siyang supposed to be direct na ibinigay na pera kay dating Senador Bong Revilla. Yung direct yun lamang. But I believe the rest were not really direct.
Yeah, exactly. So, paano mo nga, yun nga yung kailangan mong mapatunayan doon no? Kaya, at the end of the day, at the least that we can do is to introduce systemic change. That's why I've been insisting, we have to follow the money. Alam mo, kaya tayo masyadong you're a lawyer, Sec. Bakit tayo dependent sa witnesses? Kasi wala kang documentary evidence, wala kang konkretong... sa tagal ng paglilitis ng kaso dito, pag kinausap ka na, di tapos na. No? Kasi dependent nga doon sa witness. However, if the system is foolproof and that you can very well prove how the money proceeds from one hand to another, corroboration na lang ang kailangan mo as far as witnesses is concerned.
Yeah.
So, systemic talaga. Now, I'm insisting it's the word systemic kasi hindi parang maling-mali yung sasabihin mo. Paniniwalaan mo ba si Saldi? Pinawalang sala niya kagad yung mga Duterte, hindi daw sila kasali. Samantala, in most of the public hearings done in the Senate, no? Ilang beses tinanong si Diskaya, kailan ba kayo lumaki? Hindi na kailangan ulit-ulitin yan. And the same thing, Saldi ko, kailan ba siya lumaking kontraktor? So in other words, kung gusto talaga, seryoso talaga tayo, no? Balikan natin, hindi naman ito unang nangyari. Nagka-Napoles na tayo. At buti nga yung Napoles, kahit papano nakita natin may mukha. Itong Parmali, nawala na lang parang bula. No?
Yeah.
Na kailangan talagang balikan lahat. Kung seryoso tayo at gusto talaga nating, ang tawag dito, we want them to be accountable, we should really look into all of these scams.
But as a lawyer, Attorney Edwin, ang usapan ho kasi talaga dito is proof beyond reasonable doubt, Professor, right? So if we were to follow the law strictly, kailan walang kaduda-dudang guilty ang mga ito.
Correct.
So, mapapatunayan ho kaya yon, especially with so many layers now that are put in place before the accusing finger points to the particular person who's guilty.
That's why you need to have the state witness, or you really, for example, I'll give an example of what Ed was saying. In the case of Chis Escudero, Bernardo testified that he gave the money to Maynard Ngu. So the process now is you're going to sue Maynard Ngu. So you file a case against Maynard Ngu, and then at some point, he may decide to point to Chis, may or may not decide. So that's the way you do cases. Kasi it's really personal
so,
testimony.
Lang talaga. So you have to go through the bagman now and file a case against the bagman. And it's up to the bagman to actually say yes or no.
Exactly.
Agree or not.
Exactly.
Refute it, approve or deny.
Yeah, exactly. Kaya nga pinag-aawayan itong state witness na sinasabi ni Senator Marcoleta, hindi daw kailangan magbalik, ha? No? So, another questionable remark. Ini-insist niya na hindi kailangan magbalik ng... Hindi naman yun ang issue dito, whether or not it's provided for by law. It's, ang tawag dito, goodwill.
Act of
It's
goodwill.
an indication that, hey, I'm really serious at getting to the bottom of this and I'm going to help you and so on and so forth. Now, having said that, yun yung sinasabi ni Sec ngayon. No? So, ang puntiryahin mo, yung involved, na directly involved, pag kumantayan ngayon, di yan ang state witness mo.
Yan naman talaga, even the RICO statute, the mafia, you start with the...
Exactly.
Sa babae.
Let's go back a little bit, just to backtrack. When you talked about the Napoles case way back, 3 government officials were jailed.
Yeah.
The late Senator Enrique,
JPE,
Senator
Jinggoy.
Bong, and Senator Jinggoy. You do recall that the supposed person who wrote or signed, tama ho ba?
Si Ben Herluy?
Hindi, si Cambe.
Okay.
Si
Remember.
Mr. Cambe
Okay.
na accused together with Senator Bong Revilla, he actually suffered in jail.
That's right.
And died.
And died in
And
jail.
died.
So when I look back at the Napoles case, yun po yung naaalala ko.
Yeah.
I think ang first name po niya, Richard Cambe,
Richard Cambe.
na staff ni Senator Bong
Yes,
Revilla,
yes.
na siya ang itinapon sa kulungan at namatay po siya doon.
Exactly. Siyempre, so ganun siya ka-loyal. No? In other words, na-identify siya as directly involved, but in the whole process, no, the logical thing to do is to give up the principal. But this guy probably, whatever the reason was really that loyal, no, and he didn't give up the principal.
He took the bullet for...
He took the bullet.
That happens.
Yeah.
In the same way, remember, this isn't just the farther down is the assassination of Ninoy Aquino. Nobody squealed. Even I asked President Aquino, he wouldn't say, but he had an inkling who, but he never told us. But ang mga nadamay lang are the foot soldiers,
That's right.
di ba? Nobody, I suppose they were promised something by
That's right.
whoever was the mastermind. So that's going to happen.
What about your thoughts, Professor? Even Attorney Edwin, doon sa sinasabi nilang ang bagal ng proseso. Just also to put context into it. Meron ho kasing nababagalan, pero meron din ho kasi talagang kailangan pa nilang, ganito na lang po, iiksian ko na lang yung tanong, mabagal ho ba para sa inyo ang naging aksyon ng ICI?
Well, kung ako ay nasa grupo ng DDS, sasabihin ko mabagal. But ang tawag dito, let's be fair. Kailan ba sumigaw ang Pangulo? July, August, September, October, November, December. So, maglilimang buwan. It's best to ask a lawyer. No? Gaano ba katagal bago mapunta man lang sa indictment muna?
Yeah.
I think they had to go through ICI because si Sammy Martirez wasn't acting. I mean, nag-retire na eh.
Yeah,
So there wasn't anything moving. But when Boeing took over, medyo bumilis.
Yes.
In fact, he has made certain commitments that are quite questionable. Like, by December 15, I'm going to...
May makukulong.
Parang he's so definitive about it. So that's something that's nakakataka rin na he can be so confident. No? But at least, maybe to assure the public that things are moving. So that's why the president is also doing a daily report, a daily update.
Kasi
Siguro
madalas
dagdagan ko
kung-
na lang, before he became ombudsman kasi, nag-DOJ. So,
Yeah.
nasundan niya from start. Eh.
Right. Madalas ko din kasing naririnig sa ilang mga nakakasama ko, bagal-bagal naman, wala pang nakukulong. Kaya that's why I was bringing it up. And then there's that other side, the flip side to that is, an investigation also takes time to also protect the right of the particular respondent.
And most importantly, you'd like to file a case that's really
Airtight.
strong, airtight.
Yun lang po. Ang mangyayari niyan, let's say for example, the second set of arrest warrants will be issued. Alam mo nang hinahanap na kayong lahat, di ba? There's a big possibility talagang alis ka na lang
Yes.
ng bansa kung ayaw mong makulong dito.
Exactly.
Dahil it's certain, ikaw ang susunod kung
Exactly.
sino man sila.
Exactly.
Pero at least they're putting the fear of God into these people. I mean, dati, walang ganun. I mean, look at Jinggoy, Bong, and what's the other guy? Si JPE. They were I was referring to the Napoles case. Parang they were still very fancy-free until the cases were filed and they were arrested. No? This time around, parang si Boeing was already giving them fair warning, you're next.
So there's a
may
tipping
ganun.
point. I mean, at a certain stage, mismong anak ni Saldi ko, di ba, sinasabi niya, magsisi ka na, parang gano'n ang sinasabi niya sa tatay niya eh. So at the end of the day, these are all not only eye-opener, but it's an opportunity for us to really institute real change finally.
So essentially, you're basically satisfied with the pace of the prosecution.
Again, there's so much more to be had, as I've said, no. But precisely because the existing setup, and I never called it a system anymore, you know that, precisely is because lahat nakatutok sa personalidad eh, no? Hangga't hindi natin binabago yan. Actually, bakit ba tayo may corruption? Tatakbo ka. Ikaw having been a cabinet member yourself, having had the experience, a lawyer and so on and so on, if you run for office, you think you can run? Probably, but you have to have the money. But if your own personal money will be your campaign chest, babawiin mo yan.
Yeah.
At pag nabawi mo, madali mo nabawi, ang madali ko palang bawiin. Dodoblehin mo ito, triplehin mo, until such time na hindi natin nababago yan, balik tayo ng
Do
balik.
you agree with Pinky's suggestion that we should really come up with an anti-political dynasty law?
Well, that's one of those steps. But again, if we change the setup wherein we have real political parties, LP is one of a real political party but cannot operate as a real political party in an existing setup. Pag nilagay na natin yan, kahit naman saan ka magpunta, may political dynasty. The only difference is in other countries, kahit na anak ka ng dating presidente o presidente, dadaan ka doon sa proseso bago. Hindi yung wala kang magawa, no? Sikat ka, abogado ka, or singer ka, boxinger. Kinabukasan, gumising ka, wala kang magawa, takbo kaya ako. Ganyan
So parang
sa atin.
ang anak ng presidente, hindi kaagad magiging majority leader yan.
Oo, hindi ganyan ang sistema. Hindi yung dating
So, strong
congressman,
political
mahilig ka lang sa
party
pusa,
system.
pwede ka na maging congressman.
Yeah.
No, hindi ganon.
So maraming talagang pagbabago.
Yeah.
We were talking about it.
Pero
There's,
what do you see at the end of the rainbow? Ano nakikita mo?
Well, right now, step by step muna tayo. Let's have all those need to be accounted or have to be accountable. No? Make them accountable first. And then after that, no, nakita natin, uy, seryoso pala talaga si Pangulong Marcos. And then let's step forward towards system change.
what will make you think that the president is really serious?
Aba,
Sino ho ang kailangan maging accountable for you to say that the president is serious?
Obvious naman at merong senador at congressman dyan, wala pa nga nahuhuli. Pero dapat yan, pagka nakasuhan, hindi yung bigla-bigla na lang mapapawalang sala, no? Pinagsasauli ka na nga ng 200 million, hindi mo pa sinauli. Tapos ang kapal mong magsasabi na malinis ka, hindi naman tama yun.
All right, Political Analyst Professor Ed Tayao, sir, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ben.